Hey, I'm Dr. Terrence Espinosa, and this video is going to talk about the blueletterbible.org webpage. This is often one of the first pages to pop up if you were to Google like Genesis 1:1 Hebrew English. You'll see their interlinear. So let me show you what I'm talking about there. Let's just Google right there, Hebrew English, and Bible Hub pops up. Blue Letter Bible, where is it? It used to be the first one. My students often use Blue Letter Bible for translation. Bible Hub has lately done a similar thing. So here's what you can see. If you were to Google it, or we'll show you in a minute how to get here, it will give you English and Hebrew and pronunciation guides, a Strong's number, and it'll tell you lots of information about that word, which is nice. Let's go with bara. Okay. Click on bara, so create or created, and it takes you to this page, which tells you where you can find it in other lexicons. They say the King James translates the word bara in these different ways: to create, creator, choose, make, cut down. So they're telling you how this Hebrew word bara has been translated in the King James. That's nice. This is how, what's the person's name here? Yeah, Larry Pierce. You can find out more about him as his take on how the sense of the word in the Bible, which, bless his heart, is a really massive work to do. You probably would want to treat it with a grain of salt because that's one person's work, and there are other lexicons that go through maybe more rigorous training, but it's certainly data to have in the text. That's interesting. I mean, it's really technical. Look at that. Okay, so then they also can give you Strong's definition. Strong's is Historic Concordance. This is a book that was key to the King James. So if back before computers, if you had a King James and wanted to know what the Hebrew or Greek word was but didn't know Hebrew or Greek, you can open a Strong's Concordance. The concordance would tell you all the places, all the words in English are used, all the verse references. And then it would have a little code, and the code would go to the back of the book, and the back of the book had Greek and then Hebrew, or vice versa, and you can find the code, and it would tell you what word you were looking at. So you didn't have to know Greek or Hebrew. You can read the code to get there. That was a theory, a great, wonderful tool before computers. And so we call these numbers Strong's numbers. And in the very back of this concordance, the real strength was just telling you all the places a word was used in the King James. The concordance was not robust. It was just a very beginner's quick guide. And so they have that here. Strong's definitions aren't bad at all. There's no data to support it, no evidence for no examples of each usage. We have better lexicons today, but still it's not a bad start. And so they have that here for you for free online. I mean, good for them. And then they have in Hebrew, BDB, Brown Driver Briggs. This is one that you'll see on other sites as well. And I mean, this is beautiful. I learned on BDB when I was a student in the 90s, and BDB was put together before computers, and you can tell it is just kind of messy in my estimation. So this cleans up a little bit and gives you some more useful links. So here you can mouse over examples and see where it's used, and that's great. So there's a lot of really good usage here of the BDB on the websites. There are other lexicons that are newer and better, and you want to compare with them as well. But to have that here is pretty outstanding for Hebrew. Gesenius is Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, even older than BDB, but still it's used there as well. You can read the full entry. So there's a lot of information here when you click on a word in Blue Letter Bible. So those are some pretty good resources. Now, yeah, these are not as good, but the lexically, that's really nice. It's transparent, but what it's doing is just really excellent work. So that's if you go here, click on a word, and it'll take you again to that page. So this is a Blue Letter Bible's lexical page. Now, what about Greek? Excellent question. Let's go to, not Genesis, let's go to John 3:16. Famous passage of Scripture. And let's go not in the Westminster Leningrad Codex. Let's go to, let's go there. MGNT. MGNT. That's interesting. So here you have a similar thing in Greek. Let's go with monogenes. Let's just go dig right into it. Monogenes is a beloved, maybe one and only is probably more likely the case. So we click on the word monogenes, and you have some translation, pronunciation guides here. Part of speech from this word, monos and ginomai, sure, that's the etymology. I tell you how it's used in Textus Receptus and Septuagint in this version of the GNT. Vine's expository dictionary it's useful, it's good, but it's a very, very beginner version. That's okay. That's not bad at all. They also give you, what else they give you here? Translation count in the King James, great. Again, the biblical usage, which is good work by one person. Strong's definition, again, a good start, but there are more. And here's Thayer's Lexos. Thayer, I believe, was Unitarian, so you want to be careful with text related to that idea, maybe such as this one here. But it's out of copyright. It's free. It's good. It's not bad necessarily, Unitarianism aside. But you wouldn't want to rely solely on it. The nice thing about it is it gives you examples, again, of where it thinks the word is used in various different ways. So that's the main Greek text for definitions here. That's good to know. They're transparent on their sources, and their interlinear looks like this, which is not bad at all. If you went to blueletterbible.org just by itself, it looks like this, at least as of early 2026. And you can let's go to study. And now we can look at the resources specifically. So they have, you can see all sorts of resources, audio and visual commentaries. That's nice. Let's go to the language tools. So here's the inline interlinear that we opened with, so you can get to it this way as well. Let's go back. They have lexical resources, they have grammars, concordances. Lexical resources can take you to the individual resources they have. So here's BDB for Hebrew, Gesenius for Hebrew, Vines for New Testament, Trench's synonyms. That's another historic resources, Strong's and Thayer's. So you can click on these free lexicons and get, where you need to go. That's fine. That's good. I love the transparency of the site. What else is there? But that's Blue Letter Bible. It often comes up, maybe not the first link anymore, but it's there when you look for the interlinear of a Greek English or Hebrew English translation page. The thing about the site, okay, so they have noble intentions, and it does a fantastic job with, say, these topical indices, other resources such as commentaries. The issue is commentaries that are recent and quality cost money because they're under copyright. Workers get paid for their labor. That makes sense. So they're not always available for free. What is available for free is usually free resources that are out of copyright by hundreds of years. The devotionals like Guzik, for example, as far as I know, good minister, good man, pastor of a church, his notes are not a commentary. They're sermon notes collected, by canonical order, but he himself will say he has no theological training, not even a bachelor's degree, much less the expertise you want for a commentary. So while they're good, they're devotional and not always as technical or data heavy as you would want in a commentary. But it's going to be put out there online for free as a commentary resource. And so when it comes to lots of resources, you want to just discern, do some research, see what exactly they're putting out there for free to use. As all things, just be mindful of it. Be aware of that. For language tools, these aren't going to be the tools that you would buy if you were going to translate yourself or be in a Hebrew or Greek class, but they are free. They've been indexed here. They're useful, and they're a good step in the right direction. So Blue Letter Bible is, I think, great for that. Great for language resources. Man, the people involved seem to be good people. The noble cause of making this free for everyone. And I want to encourage them. They keep it up. They're doing great work. The strength for me, my perspective would be the language resources. All right. Well, that's Blue Letter Bible. We'll talk to you next time. God bless you. Bye.